for me personally, man, it was my older brother Jared. He was always into metal, so he always had metal CDs and stuff around. So that was the music that I was listening to. Mm-hmm. That was just what tickled my fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very similar. My older brother Adam and Brian were pretty much into metal as well, and yeah, that's when I was about 8 or 9. You know, they were listening to, you know, that was during the new metal sort of phase, so there was a lot of Korn and Slipknot being listened to, and that kind of started it off for me. Yeah. And Jake and I were friends at the time since we've been like 6 and 7, so
me and Jord got into metal together really when we were like fucking, I don't know, about 11, 12. We started getting our first death metal CDs and like trade and stuff, and just getting into like that. It was all pretty natural, and then LimeWire came along, and Jesus, I just blew up from LimeWire, man.
Right.
Yeah, discovered a lot of shit through LimeWire.
We had like Terrorizer and Kerrang and Metal Hammer and stuff like that. So I got into a lot of stuff like that. How Metal Hammer used to come with the CDs and stuff. Found heaps of good bands off out of that stuff. So I got right into like Metallica and Pantera and stuff, but then it just seemed to take a jump from like Pantera straight to like Disgorge and Brodequin and stuff like that, because it just ended up finding that type of stuff on the internet, and that's why I was just super drawn to it, because every time we'd find something heavy, like call up Jordan and be like, man, you got to hear this fucking band that I just found.
We grew up in a town about 3 hours north of Brisbane, in a small town called Nanango with like 3,000 people living there. So kind of a random place for a brutal death metal band to start. So we all grew up there, and then we all moved to Brisbane to study or to work. So we kind of just sort of established ourselves as a Brisbane band once we moved there, went to study. And
I think there was a really awesome metal scene in Brisbane when we first started. You know what I mean? Like there was. Brisbane's a place that had a ton of great fucking metal bands, like even just the locals, like People Die, Epileptic Fist Fuck. They were just like tons of amazing bands.
Well, I think when Disentomb started in 2009, we started at a really good time where Brisbane was going through this, you know, massive boom of like quality death metal bands, and there was a weekly death metal, like weekly metal gigs on at a venue called Rosie's. And so for us, like that really built our foundation. We got to cut our teeth in terms of gigs and just sort of networking and that sort of thing. So I think it happened at a really good time for us to move to Brisbane, and then, you know, for Brisbane to have like an established metal venue and that sort of thing. And we would travel to Brisbane when we were teenagers as well, like go and buy CDs and stuff whenever our parents would go to Brisbane, like the nearest city. So it was pretty sick to move there and then, you know, sort of establish ourselves when we were first starting out.
That was like the only place, like out in the country, man, there's no, like, you might get a fucking cover band at the local pub on a Friday night if you're lucky, but
From the town you're from? Or
So we'd always have to go to the Big Smoke down to Brisbane to see any proper metal shows, you know what I mean? But it's kind of funny us being from a small town as well. Like, we'd go down to Brisbane, I'd go and see a band like Slayer, and then go and see a band like Psychroptic, that's from Australia, and it was like exactly the same thing, you know what I mean? Like, they were both just huge metal bands to us, so it was like it was an awesome thing, man. I think we just wanted to convey more of like get a feeling across in the music rather than just something that was straight up brutality. Wanted to write something that kind of made you feel something, you know what I mean? Like the intro track to Misery. I feel like that kind of sets a feeling for the album, where Sunken didn't really have that type of thing. It was just kind of brutal for the sake of being brutal. It didn't have much contrast, you know what I mean? So we wanted to have stuff with a bit more contrast. But on Sunken, I think you can hear elements of what we were trying to do, but we were like 17, 18 when we were writing that stuff, you know what I mean? So we were just naturally gonna get better at writing the music that we wanted to write.
So I think we definitely challenged ourselves in terms of song composition. There was a lot of thought that went into that. But in terms of technicality, we've never been one of those bands that has a riff in there just to show some, like Jake's technical prowess. It's more of a it's got to sound sick and it's got to be something that we want to write. So but Yeah, I think the main challenge for the Decaying Light was there's definitely been an upgrade from Misery to the Decaying Light in terms of song composition, even vocal patterns.
Yeah.
A lot more thought put into it. Because probably it took a lot more time to write it, but put it together. So. I think it's somewhat of a tribute to some of our like favorite albums. You know, like by Morbid Angel and.
Yeah, I think that goes towards like the Desolate Ways by Morbid Angel for sure.
It harkens back to that sort of thing where you know, those are probably the most influential albums on us, and so I think there was probably a bit of subconscious wanting to do something similar to that.
Yeah,
You know?
It's the other thing that comes back to just like conveying emotion, man. Like it's something that makes you feel something when you listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get that when I listen to Desolate Ways by Morbid Angel. So I'd hope that some people could kind of get that same sort of feeling when they listen to our stuff as well. Music's music, man. Like, we love all sorts of different shit. Like, we don't just listen to fucking metal. Like, we try to take influence from everything.
Yeah.
Like, me personally, I listen to tons of, like, feel-good 90s techno and stuff. And there's heaps of, like, little composition things that I'll hear in a techno song. I'll be like, fuck, we could apply that to a Disentomb song. You know what I mean? But that's what makes stuff end up coming out unique and different. The entire thing overall, man. I think just how much of it we ended up doing ourselves. Like, we mixed the album ourselves and stuff, so like it came down to, it was all just how we wanted it to sound, basically. I think how much of it was done in-house is what we're most proud of, because how we were saying before that, we just don't care if anybody doesn't like it. We just wanted it to turn out, if we dug it, then if everyone else did, that's a fucking bonus, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
One thing I've been really stoked on since it's come out is there's a lot of people that have picked up on the nuances that we've added in the album. Obviously, you get a lot of people who say, oh, you know, Disentomb's new album, The Decaying Light, for fans of Caveman Slam or something like that. And, you know, fair enough if people hear the new album and they, you know, and they hear it for the brutality, but one thing that's really surprised me and has been awesome to see is people picking up that, you know, those small little details we added in the album that, you know, we appreciate and that we put in there.
Yeah.
But like for other people to pick that up and to get that same signal that we were sending out, you know, different emotions and that sort of thing, it's pretty sick.
Yeah.